Hi, my name is Bret Tracy. Been going to Capstone since 2017. I had moved here from Las Vegas in 2015, and my daughter actually approached me. She was in high school at the time, and some other of the girls had invited her to some of the events that Capstone was hosting on Wednesday nights, and she came and asked me about those. And I told her, I don't really know much about church and how it works. But I feel like you probably shouldn't be going on Wednesday nights if you don't go Sunday mornings. We attended as a family the first part of January in 2017. My first series at Capstone was one called Why God? And the very first weekend of that one, Walt had preached out there that if you have coworkers that do not know God, there's going to be a series of questions that they don't know or might be curious about, and over the next several weeks we're going to go through how do you approach a coworker at a water cooler that doesn't know Jesus. At the time I was very naive, did not know much about the Bible. I grew up in Missouri, lived there until I was 20, moved to Las Vegas, lived there for 21 years, and I did not know any people in the Bible. If somebody in this room were to approach me, would they actually be able to talk to me about the questions that I have? The next series that we had was the book of John, which we are starting again. That tells you how long I've been here that we're cycling through. The book of John was an excellent entryway into Jesus. It was an easy story to read. I had actually reached out and filled out my comment card and stuck it in the box on the way out. Walt reached out to me for coffee, and I had a lot of questions about John. I didn't know how to read the Bible. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know necessarily where to start. And through that, Walt told me about soaping. While I was reading John, I kept getting stuck. So I would read verses over and over, and they just didn't make sense. And so I followed the observations. I applied it, and I kind of went through each of the soap steps, trying to figure out how this applies to me. As I really dove into the soaping, and the one I always love is John 15:5 about the vine dressing, and realizing that here I am, never having been to church. There was a method for me to become church, and basically an adopted son. And through that, I was able to learn about Jesus and about how being adopted into the family. One of the parts of John that I read about is, what do you do with the bad vines? I had lived in Vegas for 21 years, Sin City, plenty of temptation. I was very much into commercialism. If a new TV came out, I went and bought it. If a bigger one came out the next year, I went and bought that. Always upgrading trucks. That was just the life we lived, and the Bible says to prune those branches. So you take those branches and you throw them in the fire. I had just participated in a dry December, and right before I started coming, and I realized that was a vine that wasn't going to just be a 30-day, that vine just needs to be tossed in the fire. I started looking at friendships. Were these just acquaintances I hung out with at the bar, or were these true friends? So I really started analyzing all of that, started looking at my own purchases and how I spend my time, how I spend my money. The fruits that we have from it, in 2018, I did get baptized early in the year. My daughter followed suit 4 months later. That same year, we had the opportunity to go down to Haiti. I believe that was the last time we were able to send a mission trip down there. But just seeing the fruits of our small little church and what we do for the kids down there, and the impact that it has directly on their lives, definitely impacted my life. The transformation that people see within me, kind of like before Jesus and after Jesus, a lot of those are my own children. I have 4 from my first marriage. The older 2 were in high school in Las Vegas, whereas the younger 2 were in high school here in Fountain Inn. So the older 2 kind of saw that lifestyle. watched their dad always going out and spending money and that type of consumerism, whereas the younger two have watched me kind of just reshape my decisions and how I apply my decisions differently. One of the things I love most about attending at Capstone is the mission that we're on. It is not about the building, it's not about Sunday mornings, it is just the opposite. Sunday mornings is for practice, and the rest of the week we're sent out. We say that at the close of every sermon, but I truly feel that is our mission. We're now building an activity center. We invest in Fike, we invest in Hades. We're not trying to be a big church, we're just trying to make our town a gospel-centered town.